Okay, the SAG nominations came out today for 2017. We're going to talk about the TV nominations here. Um, every year, the SAG nominations on the TV side, they just like to repeat what they did last year. So it's very easy to predict, but not the case this year, Zach, right? There's so many new shows, including, let's just start with the drama categories. What got in this year that's brand new?
Well, the brand new additions for this year are The Crown, Stranger Things, Westworld, and well, that's it. Those are the three new ones. Returning champion Downton Abbey got in, but it was its only nomination. And then Game of Thrones is back, which is yet to win that award. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Westworld all got 3 nominations apiece. And The Crown as well got 3 nominations, which is really huge. They tied with Game of Thrones and The People versus O.J. Simpson for the most nominations overall.
Yeah, Chris, what did you make of these? Because we went through our nomination picks yesterday, and we didn't see all of this coming. We saw maybe 1 or 2 new shows, but not this.
You almost wonder if different voters voted on different genres, because in drama they moved out a lot of people, and then on comedy, I'm looking right now. There were some open slots in comedy, but the only 2 people, or the only 2 that they got rid of, unlike drama, were Jim Parsons and no, not Big Bang Theory.
Transparent.
Transparent. That was the only 2 that were eligible that they got rid of on the comedy side. But on drama, they totally revised. I think from a winner standpoint, if Downton thought it was going to set a new record, I think, and it could, they love it, but I think it's hurt by the fact that The Crown is there. I think that might split some votes of that type of viewer, meaning Game of Thrones finally wins. But that's just my thought going in.
Sure, but then you've got, it's kind of interesting. You could make the case that Game of Thrones and Westworld could also split a vote.
And Stranger Things is genre too. So
I got a text this morning from our buddy Ralph. He goes, "Remember how you all dismissed me again when I told you Stranger Things would get in at SAG? I was right again." So Ralph's
not right about everything. How's his Millie Bobby Brown pick over at the Globes?
But can Stranger Things actually win? I mean, it got in 2 Best Actress nominations for Millie and for Winona Ryder, kicking out Viola Davis, who's won twice in a row.
I'm looking to see. It's mostly kids, right? I don't think they normally.
It is mostly kids. Aside,
I think what they could do is maybe give Winona the win, or maybe even Millie, but maybe spread the wealth to a Game of Thrones for ensemble, or maybe even Westworld, which got 3 noms.
Has a kid ever won a SAG award individually?
Well,
Hannah Paquin didn't.
Yeah, no, I better stop myself before I say something that's not true. I'm thinking of all these people who have been nominated, like Jamie Bell, and they like to nominate kids. Jacob last year.
I don't think they've won.
Yeah, no, none of those people won. So this could be a. I'm sure there's somebody who's watching this right now and is screaming a name at us as we speak, and so.
And by the way, I wouldn't call, if Lucas Hedges wins, I wouldn't. If you're not 17 and under, I'm not calling you a kid.
You're right. No, this would be a child.
Right.
I don't know who wins.
I'm going with Game of Thrones. One thing we've always noticed is the big, they like biggest cast, and I think that's been helping Downton. But again, I think that might, with the length of time ago that Downton aired, the fact that Maggie Smith fell out, and the fact that The Crown is similar. I don't consider Game of Thrones and Westworld similar personally, other than HBO. I just don't. I don't. And Game of Thrones, once it's all-time Emmy record holder, never won a SAG other than stunts. My individual winners right now, I think Rami Malek not makes up, but House of Cards falling out, I think, hurts Kevin Spacey. So Rami Malek to me seems like the next most logical choice. But don't overlook a John Lithgow, who is probably the most respected actor in the whole group. I really don't think Winona Ryder. I think it's between Tandy Newton and Robin Wright. Robin Wright's never won, at least individually.
She had a good season if they're actually watching House
But
of
again, I mean, with House of Cards falling out, is that a
I might
bad
go-
sign?
Tandy Newton is just, she won the Critics' Choice last week, so did John Lithgow. And you know, these two supporting people could be the equivalent of like a J.K. Simmons, Patricia Arquette pair, where they just steamrolled over every supporting race on the movie side. You know, what if we see Lithgow and Newton do that on the TV side? They're both up for the Globes, they both won Critics' Choice, they could both win the Emmys.
Well, let's not discount our pal Sterling K. Brown, who got,
Yes.
I think, the big headline of today. He got 2 nominations for
Well-
This Is Us and for People versus O.J. Simpson.
He
Right.
can't win drama actor, though.
Well, you know, maybe he could win something if they like him that much. But,
Right, some people were debating whether he would
Yes.
get 1, he got 2.
well, Sterling, if you're watching this, congratulations.
Well, no, I think he could win the movie limited series actor. I just don't think he's going to win. If This Is Us had gotten into ensemble, I would think I would have paid more attention.
Right, which I think a lot of us thought that it would. So,
Right.
Danny, what about you?
Yeah, I've got Game of Thrones winning Best Ensemble. I think Maggie Smith is the canary in the coal mine for Downton Abbey. That maybe they're just not that into it anymore, and it aired so long ago, and and it finished airing, so it doesn't have any new episodes coming up. And Game of Thrones has all the nominations it needs. So I think this is probably going to be the year for Game of Thrones. For Best Actor, I think I've got Rami Malek. I agree that Kevin Spacey is hurt by the House of Cards snub. And again, that's another show that feels kind of like yesterday's news. It aired quite a while ago.
Well, this is the SAG TV we're talking about. They love yesterday's news.
True, but I mean, even on his last nomination, Alec Baldwin, after 30 Rock had aired like almost a year ago, its last episodes, and they even moved on from Alec Baldwin eventually. So given that Rami Malek has so much heat coming off of him after the Emmy win, I think he takes that one. Drama actress is much harder. I think it's I've got Robin Wright out front, very tentatively. I think her closest competition though is actually Claire Foy.
I could see that.
They
I don't think they know her as well, though. They're very. If you just look at winners, I'm just talking about the film side, where they kind of get in lockstep with what's going on with the Oscar world. But on the TV side, they like people they've worked with. They like people that their buddies worked with. I don't know that Claire. That's why John Lithgow kind of is suddenly. I've got Rami Malek, but he's suddenly really standing out to me in that group.
He was so good. I mean, I know we
And
don't.
with the Crown Upper Ensemble, I think that helps him over Rami a little bit.
We don't talk about quality of performances a lot, but if we're talking about who gave the best performances, John Lithgow, guys, he's absolutely amazing.
And you know what's on all of these? As I was going through, I just kind of scribbled notes of people that were overlooked. You could replace the entire actress group with the 5 I wrote down, and nobody would have blinked an eye. Maggie Smith, Kerry Russell, Viola Davis, Tatiana Maslany, and Evan Rachel Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have blinked an eye of any of those if that was the 5 instead of this 5.
Yeah, I think for winners, and then we can go on to comedy. I think I'm going to pick Game of Thrones, John Lithgow, and Tandy Newton. Why not? So comedy, we already kind of mentioned it. Big Bang Theory's back, but Blackish is the new show. Of course, it's in season 3, but for SAG Awards, it's the new nominee here. Also, Anthony Anderson got in too, and Titus Burgess got in for the first time. And
When I heard his name and they had not announced ensemble yet, I thought, oh, Kimmy Schmidt's getting in for ensemble.
I did
For
too.
Titus to get in and Ellie to come back, I just thought it's got to be.
I know. And then on the comedy actress side, only one new one, Jane Fonda. Who thought when they said Jane Fonda's nomination, who thought this show is going to get on ensemble? Grace and Frankie, best ensemble comedy.
Well,
That's
Lily
fantastic.
Tomlin wasn't in last year. She's been
What?
in for other things, but she wasn't in last year.
Oh no, I'm just talking about this category.
Right.
Right.
It could have. I mean, you've also got Sam Waterston and Martin Sheen. So I don't think there were really any snubs in that category. You had a couple of open slots, and the
Thanks,
3
Gavin
that could
Starr.
come back, came back. Yeah, but I mean, you know, Jane, again, they love who they love in terms of their careers sometimes, and Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, and it kind of makes sense here, just like John Lithgow kind of makes sense.
Well, of course, no, I mean, it makes sense. I'm just saying in terms of like the trajectory that she's been on and that Blackish has been on lately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I wouldn't have batted an eye if she'd gotten in. The other two I wrote down were Sarah Jessica Parker and Issa Rae, but they hardly ever go with brand new. Even like Blackish and Anthony Anderson were saying, hey, they're welcome aboard, but they're second-year shows. It's third year in this case. So that's what is so weird about if we look at comedy versus drama. Drama is a lot of new stuff, and comedy is even on the ones where they're new to SAG, they weren't new shows.
Right.
And the very hilarious Orange is the New Black is back again. And will it actually win comedy series again and Uzo Aduba again?
I don't think so. I think it's well, I mean, it could. They like repeat.
I think it's Veep and Julia.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
Veep has never won there. Julia's won once for Veep, and I don't know how many times for Seinfeld.
And this is season 5. I think Breaking Bad won on was it 5 or 5.5? In other words, sometimes they come late, these SAG voters.
I don't think Modern Family, I don't think Big Bang Theory, so that just leaves, and please not Orange again. It just leaves Blackish. Blackish could do it here. I mean, they got a large ensemble, and when you've got somebody like a Lawrence Fishburne in there, that's again somebody they have enjoyed forever.
I think this is between Blackish and Veep. I mean, Blackish is like the new kid on the block, even though it's in its 3rd season. But it's a show that they're just now discovering, and you know, Anthony Anderson could win Best Comedy Actor for the show. So that that would help give it another notch.
Who do you have there? Because I mean, Tambor seems obvious, especially after a second Emmy win, but Transparent falling out, that doesn't help. Yeah,
it definitely hurts. As of right now, I'm going with Anthony Anderson for the reasons I just said, but I'm not like 100% certain on it. I mean, it could just be an award that they give for that show if Veep wins an ensemble.
I think in a category where there's no front runner, I'm just going to go with last year's winner. And I think comedy actor is one of the, I don't think, none of these guys stand out for me. So Jeffrey Tambor by default.
Well, even more so if you factor in, okay, let's just say we are right and something else is going to win ensemble, that Orange is old news and Uzo's not going to win. They're not going to replace all 3 comedy winners. I don't think so. Tambor makes even more sense if you think about it from that perspective.
And he would be deserving too. I mean, those very funny episodes of Transparent from this last season were.
It would be so funny, ironically, if we see 2 wins for Orange is the New Black again, and then Jeffrey Tambor again. The most dramatic best comedy lineup you've ever seen would be those winners.
Yeah.
I mean, I love those shows, but yeah, it's very, it is funny that we're talking about these very serious shows for comedy ensemble.
And again, another sign in the comedy area, but not drama, of that they just don't watch new stuff. You know, the hottest person on television that probably will win the Globe and possibly next year's Emmy is Donald Glover, and he couldn't get in here.
That was the big snub for me.
And Louis Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah. I asked Ralph, you know, is Uzo winning? He says, I think Uzo takes comedy again because the category is weak. But what about Lily Tomlin? She's winning the Life Achievement Award that night. Does that help her? Chris, you would know. Does that, or is that something that's
happened before? Separate? I think 2 other times, and it didn't help. In fact, I almost think it hurts because they all the voters know who's getting the Life Achievement. They know they're going to be on stage. I don't. Especially with Jane being in there too. I mean, if you like Grace and Frankie, which way do you go? And but Lily is, boy, she's as respected as anybody. I just think when Ralph says it's weak, I look at a name like Julia Louis-Dreyfus and go, that's not weak.
She had her best season yet.
You know, setting records at the Emmy Awards. I can't imagine Julia not winning this time.
Okay.
Yeah, It really feels like her to me too, and it's interesting. I hadn't even noticed it, but looking, it's like it's Julia versus Netflix. This entire category.
Oh well.
But yeah, I can see, I mean, they love their respected actors, even if it's a show they don't love that much. Betty White with Hot in Cleveland, so I can see Lily or Jane Fonda winning this. But I could also see them splitting the vote between them. So yeah, I mean, given how strong Julia Louis-Dreyfus has been for years at the Emmys, and the fact that she's been relatively under-rewarded at the SAG Awards, and then there's less heat on Orange is the New Black, although it did manage the same nominations it's been getting for the last couple of years. I think it's Julia. I think we shouldn't underestimate Orange is the New Black, though. I mean, the size of that cast is, I mean, I think it's still in second for best ensemble at least. I would not be. I'm going to be. If that's announced as the winner for best comedy ensemble, I'm going to be kicking myself a little bit if I didn't pick it. It's like, why didn't I realize that they were going to go back there? It's sort of like how Downton Abbey's won 3
And
of them.
this season was good. It was season 4, I think. It was
Yes.
very good, back to form. But I will say this: Uzo and Julia, let someone else speak. If your ensemble wins, don't speak.
I don't ever understand that. Even like the other night on the Critics' Choice Awards, why wouldn't you even have a backup plan? Like, okay, Mahershala, well, in that case, it was the first of the night, but he's at least nominated. Naomi's nominated. Maybe somebody else should speak just in case they win their category. I don't, and that happens at SAG a lot, and I never have understood that. And we've seen times, I think maybe Uzo's first time, she won, and then the ensemble goes up, and they had obviously voted her to be the speaker. Why wouldn't you have a backup plan? Like, well, Uzo's our only nominee. If she actually wins before we go up for ensemble, Kate Mulgrew, you speak, or whoever it is, pick somebody. But
Well, the girl who died, maybe she should speak.
yeah, I mean, I never have understood that. But these people don't think about this stuff nearly as much as we do.
Yeah. Anything else about comedy before we go on to movie mini?
I don't think so.
Nah.
So is this going to be, Sarah Paulson? She's never won a SAG award. This is probably her first win, most likely. I mean, who else?
I can't imagine she's not winning that.
Yeah. She's every once in a while there's an actor who, like, especially in the movie miniseries category, who wins, they just do the Triple Crown, Emmy, Golden Globe, SAG Award back to back to back for the same role. This is that, I think. Paulson, who was overdue for the Emmy for so long and overdue for other awards for so long, this is just her moment. She's just gonna run with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is, like Michael Douglas and Behind the Candelabra, to name an example. This is just Sarah Paulson's time to win awards.
Mm-hmm.
And if she were eligible at the Oscars, she'd probably win that too.
Kevin Costner did it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just, after all these years, this is finally Sarah Paulson's.
Actor's a lot more interesting, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's going to be Courtney.
No Night Manager guys in there.
No, I thought. In fact, we talked yesterday. I wasn't so convinced Tom Hiddleston would get in like I was at the Globes, but he might even win the Globe. But I thought Hugh Laurie would get in. They love Hugh Laurie at SAG.
Could the fact that out of the 5 nominees, 2 of them are from The Night Of and 2 of them are from OJ, could they all split the vote and Bryan Cranston win for all the way?
And they also like Bryan Cranston, which helps.
That's a fun category. And they love John Turturro. I don't think he's ever won there. I think it's going to be Courtney. If I'm just looking at the 3 projects, I'm thinking practically everybody saw OJ.
Right.
I'm not sure that they all saw Night Of, and I'm not sure that they even all saw All the Way. And Courtney being the lead and Sterling being supporting, I think makes Courtney probably the winner.
We should say OJ also led the nominations with Game of Thrones and Westworld and all those other shows of 3 apiece. And if they had an award for ensemble in a movie or miniseries, which I kind of wonder why they don't, but it would have been nominated there and won that too. So
right. I don't know who I'm picking in this one yet, but I think Chris's point is spot on that they've all seen OJ.
And Courtney, going back to, I've said it several times here, especially on the TV side, but just so many people have worked with him. He's been doing this for 30 years. Sterling, in their mind, they might be thinking, well, he's got a long run ahead of him. We don't know him as well. It just, Courtney's married to Angela Bassett. I mean, it all kind of fits. It all kind of feels right.
But Sterling got 2 nominations.
Yeah.
Could he be this year's Idris Elba and win both?
No. I think the biggest problem for Sterling K. Brown is that, I don't think people are going to vote for him in both. But if you want to pick him in one or the other, I don't know that it's 100% clear which one you would go for. So he's going to have a little bit of support for This Is Us. So I think his better chances for People versus OJ, but going up against the lead star of that hurts him there. So yeah, I think he should enjoy this run. He's got a shot at an Emmy or at a Golden Globe win. He's got a shot at another Emmy with This Is Us too. So this might not be the one he gets.
So Daniel hates Sterling K. Brown. So what are we going to do about? What are we doing about stunts? Game of Thrones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Walking Dead. What about Westworld?
No, it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones has never lost in 5 years. I will not predict it to lose until it does. It's the Alec Baldwin of stunt ensembles.
It's at least between that and Westworld. Let's just say.
But when you watched Westworld, did you think stunts?
No, I did not. But it's still. I got to have a little bit of competition here. It's
And, it just occurred to me, Game of Thrones had Battle of the Bastards, the most, talked about episode maybe in all of television for the whole year. And that was an hour of fighting and horseback riding. I mean, Westworld has horses, but they don't have fights on horses, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm convinced.
Although one thing I should mention, if you consider them as their own entity, Marvel was the big winner at the SAG Awards. It has 4 nominations, 2 in film for Captain America: Civil War and Doctor Strange, and here it has 2 for stunt ensemble for TV with Luke Cage and Daredevil. So Marvel has more nominations than any other individual program or film, or tied with Manchester by the Sea of anything at the SAG Awards. So congratulations to Marvel.
It's too bad they don't present these stunt categories on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know why when SAG Awards started, they were on NBC the first, 3-4 years. But ever since they've been on, TBS TNT, which has plenty of airtime. I mean, it's not like they've got to hit the local news, coming out at, at 11 o'clock or whatever. I don't know why they don't go to a 3-hour show, add in the stunts, add in a movie mini ensemble, maybe do another. I've said for years I would love to see like one life achievement winner individual each year. Keep that. Don't do away with that. But maybe like honor an ensemble from a film or a TV show from the past. Bring out the Godfather cast, or bring out the Mary Tyler Moore Show cast, or I mean, if they had a 3-hour show, they'd be able to do the kind of things we're talking about. They can't possibly fit in something else now on a 2-hour.
And wouldn't you love to see the acceptance speech for Best Stunt Ensemble? Like they could plan it out in advance where like the winning group comes crashing through the set and on stage.
Oh yeah, they could have fun with it.
Right. And a 3-hour show would allow them to have a host with an opening monologue.
I think one of the things I like about the SAG Awards is, even if they expand to 3 hours, you can fill it with enough content that I think they've been doing so well without a host. I don't think they need one.
I love that opening with the actor speeches.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts? We should probably run here.
Gonna be a fun ceremony.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Go make your predictions right now at goldderby.com.